Mr. Speaker.
Dr. Zhang Yang, let me say you have about 8.5 minutes to go. I'll give you a 2-minute bell before the debate in toto will conclude.
Okay.
Dr. Zhang Yang.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, it is a great pleasure to be the final speaker in today's debate to support the Prime Minister's statement to Parliament. I'm very proud to be part of the national-led government, a government which has continued to work hard to make this country a better place for New Zealanders and their families. That's right. Before I come to the Prime Minister's statement, let's refresh ourselves a bit about the 2008 financial crisis. The financial crisis is considered by many economists the worst financial crisis since the Great Depression of the 1930s. But the New Zealand economy had already entered a recession in early 2008, before the effects of the global financial crisis set in later in the year, and that was under the Labour government. The outlook for the New Zealand economy deteriorated rapidly following the intensification of the global financial crisis in September 2008. Business and consumer confidence plummeted as uncertainty dominated the global financial and economic environment. Mr. Speaker, since then, the national-led government has managed our finance responsibly, while taking a number of measures to stimulate our economy. Despite the severe impact of the global financial crisis and natural disasters such as Christchurch earthquakes, our economy has been growing.
That's right. They ignore those.
Labour and Greens, on the other hand, still haven't learned anything from their last time in government. They are already talking about going on a huge spending spree. Look at what Labour's last big spending splurges between 2005 and 2008 did to our country. It increased the deficit to almost 9% of GDP. Mortgage interest rates were averaging 10.9%. Food prices had gone up 11% in Labour's last year, and the economy was in premature recession. Mr. Speaker, you cannot spend your way into prosperity. National understands that, and that's why we are building a stronger economy which will provide higher incomes for New Zealand families. The Prime Minister has outlined 4 priorities which will continue to grow our economy and create more jobs, deliver better frontline health and education services, a safer New Zealand, and support the Christchurch rebuild. Our economy continues to grow, up 3.5% between September 2012 and September 2013. The Treasury forecasts our economy will grow at a similar rate in 2014. Mr. Speaker, this government will produce a budget surplus next year, while most other countries will still be in deficit and building up debt. We have done this by responsibly managing the government's finances to reduce our debt. And, Mr. Speaker, business confidence is at its highest level since 1999. There are 66,000 more people employed now than a year ago, an increase of 3%, and the unemployment rate is the lowest in 3 years and expected to drop further as the economy continues to gather momentum. As well as our success in growing the economy, we are also delivering results of our public services. Recorded crime is at a 33-year low, welfare dependency is reducing, and more elective surgery is being performed in the public health system. And, Mr. Speaker, we are working to deliver better public services for New Zealanders through police, courts, public hospitals, schools, tertiary training, and many other ways that people and businesses deal with government. The Prime Minister said in his statement that ministers will be continuing their comprehensive program of trade delegations focused on Asia. This is part of our business growth agenda, where there are hundreds of initiatives to improve productivity and comprehensiveness of our economy, competitiveness of our economy. Last week, China Southern Airlines, China's largest airline and the third largest in the world, flew their first charter flight between Guangzhou and Christchurch, and I was there at the opening ceremony. Mr. Speaker, this epitomizes the strength of New Zealand and China relationship and will also bring many benefits to the South Island. China is now one of New Zealand's largest trading partners, sometimes the largest. I'm sure it will be the largest before too long. I say this with confidence because I was happily involved in promoting trade between China and New Zealand. I've witnessed the growth of the trade between the two countries. Similarly, I have witnessed the growth of the China market for New Zealand tourism. China is our second largest source of international tourists. We have been working hard to promote New Zealand in China and to make sure our tourism facilities are convenient and friendly to Chinese tourists. The number of Chinese tourists has been growing rapidly, and they are staying in New Zealand longer and hence spend more. China is also our largest source of international students, but we need to do more to attract more international students. The Prime Minister talked about building our export education and many initiatives that are being implemented to attract international students to study at our schools and universities. As a former university lecturer, I'm very supportive of this. Today, Minister Stephen Joyce announced that the government would invest $465,000 co-funding a dozen new growth initiatives in the international education industry. International education is an important part of our economy, and National is committed to doubling the value of the industry to New Zealand to $5 billion by 2025. Mr. Speaker, our success speaks volumes and is delivering for New Zealanders. We are moving forward, not backwards. The John Key-led government continues to focus on issues that matter to our economy, to our community, to New Zealanders. A stronger economy, more jobs, better frontline health and education services, a safer New Zealand, and rebuilding Christchurch. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Sir William Seo, you have about 41 seconds.
At Waitangi, Mr. Speaker.